Morning, people. Morning, morning, morning. Thank you for joining us today. Sun's out. Everyone's pumped. Everyone's excited, planning what they're going to be doing today because, you got to catch some rays. Well, we've got a whole day packed with activities for you guys, and this is just the beginning. Um, Without further ado, I'm just going to introduce myself. I am Jonathan. I'm one of the mentors in the 100 Black Men of London and also a member of the health and wellness team. Um, Today, we're just celebrating the 100. We're continuing our celebration of the 100 being 20 years of just amazing achievements, 20 years of staying in the community, working with the community, 20 years of building young people, families, adults, just right across the board. And we're just today going to focus on health and wellness. So we have this session today that's about reset and how to be resilient. As 100 has been around for 20 years, as I mentioned earlier, for those who are joining us for the first time in our celebrations, we've had to essentially constantly change, adapt, and grow. We've had to reset, we've had to be resilient, we've had to constantly make sure that our eyes are on the prize, which is the people in our community, so that we as a community can grow. The saying that we always say is what they see is what they'll be. So that means us as adults setting an example and the younger generation coming through. So if you think about it, 20 years, there's some people who started at the beginning 20 years ago who are now adults themselves, giving back into the community, giving back into the system that helped them grow into the person that they are today. So today in this particular session, we're gonna focus on the mental side of things when we talk about health and wellness. We've got some amazing people who are going to be speaking, sharing things, giving a little bit of themselves. If you don't have a pen and paper, today's session's a bit interactive. So please grab your pen and paper just very quickly. And whilst you're grabbing a pen and paper, my other co-hosts will introduce themselves. So let's go to Kane.
Hello, my name is Kane. I've been with 100 for just over 2 months, and I think it's really helped me in just everything and motivation stuff.
Awesome, Kane. And can we have Khalil?
Hello, my name's Khalil. I've been with the 100 for like 3 years now, I think. Yeah, I'll say the same as Kane. It's also like helped me with my skills, just everyday skills that I can apply anywhere.
Awesome. And without further ado, actually, I'm gonna introduce our speaker for today. I don't know if you've seen the flyer. I'm sure you have, because that's why you're here, right? It's Eddie Hypolite. I don't know if you've heard about Eddie, but I only met Eddie this year, and he took a vision boarding session with the 100 on a CMP program with the young people and parents as well. And it was amazing. Like previous to that, I'd never do a vision board. After that, you know what? I'd recommend everyone do a vision board. I think it's just the way Eddie's able to take complex things and just break them down and make it simple. I was thinking of an introduction and I put his flyer up for this event, and someone that I know messaged me and was like, you know what? That guy's amazing. I was like, what do you mean he's amazing? And they were like, he's a trailblazer. I was like, okay, that's a big word to use for someone. They also said he's my pastor, he's a teacher, he's a communicator. So without further ado, less of me and more of him. Eddie, to the stage, please. Thank you.
I'm fully gassed now, man. I'm like helium. I'm afraid I'm gonna start talking high. Hi everyone, and it's great to be with you. I am in Australia right now, and it is 8:06 in the evening. It's 8:06 in the evening, Sunday evening. Keep on going through Sunday. It's a nice day. I heard that you're getting some really nice sunshine in London right now. So my love to my London family, and wherever you're looking at this from. I want to talk to you about reset. I want to talk to you about thinking about where you find yourself now in 2021. And I want to do it by carrying you back over 2020. I want to carry you back over 2020, even a bit of 2019. And we're going to do three things. We're going to look at us, what I call the me right now. Bring up that sheet for us. Bring up that what we're going to be working with today, Jonathan. Jonathan, where can they find this actually? They can download it somewhere, can't they?
So yeah, for some people who, you know, are within our community, you would have got the flyer posted in our different WhatsApp groups. So please reach back in those messages. It's definitely worth going through the worksheet. Can we have that worksheet up, please?
And even if you don't have the worksheet, you can get a piece of paper and you can write it down. The reason why I want you to do that is because I want whatever's in your head to come out of your head and come onto the paper. I want you to manifest it so that you can see it. We're going to look at three things. We're going to look at the me right now. We're going to look at how we reset. And then we're going to look at 5 for 21, just five ideas or 5 tips for 21. And we're going to move out from there. So why the me right now? Well, this is one thing that I know about 2020. You can't go back and change it. It's done. It is. It was what it was. You can't change it. And the one thing that I know about the future is that you have no control over it. You have no control over the future. You have no control over the past that has been. But what you do have control over is the now, the here and the gifted now, the here and the present now. And in the here and the present now, the only things we're able to do is resolve some of the things from the past, think again about who we want to be in the future, and from the present, move forward. But past and present is always colliding with you right now. Believe it or not, you know what I mean? When you make decisions based on who you are, but who you've been and who you want to be. How people have related to you and how you want people to relate to you. How people have seen you and how you want people to see you. How you see yourself in both those places. It's the me right now that is always just constantly in flow, always in play, always the space where you grow, always the space where you know yourself the most. And so we're going to look at the me right now, and we're going to try and find the me right now. So if you don't have this handout, it's simple. You can just get a piece of paper and write that and just draw these 3 circles. That's all. Draw these 3 circles. And this is how we're going to find the me right now. If you have this, I hope that you haven't filled it out straight away, because seriously, you don't even know what I'm going to say yet. So just hold fire, hold fire. This is how we're going to find the me right now. I'm going to bring mine across. I'm going to bring mine across here so that I can see it. What I want you to do is I want you to think over 2020. Yeah, I want you to cast your mind back over 2020, about the journeys that you've taken in 2020, maybe even 2019, because, you know, I know that if we was together in a group and I would have said, how many of you had enough plans for 2020? You had that year set out. When the new year began, you had your idea what you wanted to do. And then Rona just crashed the party with the pandemic, you know what I mean? And just mash up everyone's plans. Trust me, the whole hands would have gone out. I was in New York when they started shutting down the planet because of Rona. I was in New York last year. I got into Australia just before they closed the international border to Australia. And I watched over 2 weeks my 2-year international calendar die in front of me. Trust me, it was traumatic. It was ugly. It was calendar death. It was death by Rona. It was ugly. And the only space that I could actually deal with that was in the here with the me right now. So this is how we're going to find the me right now. I want you to think back over 2019. I want you to think back over 2020. And I want you to write down in that first circle, what are the things that define you? Now that you think about it, so what are some of the things that have defined me? What are the things that define me? And when I say what are the things that define you, what are the things that say that remind you who you are? What are the things that have defined you over the past year, the past 2 years? I want you to write that down. I'm going to give you a second. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 seconds.
Could that be things like family and all of
Whatever
those
it
things
may
there?
be, but what it might be family, it might be loss, it might be just change, it might be sickness, it might be success. I have friends who run businesses, and while some did bad, some in last year they did the best that they've done in like maybe 5-6 years of being in a business. So whatever it may be, what are some of the things that you can write down that at this stage, this defines me. This has defined me over over the past 2019 and especially 2020. In the box next to it, what I want you to think about are what are some of the experiences that have shaped you. What are some of the experiences that have shaped you? I was shaped by loss last year. We lost the matriarch of our family. We lost my mum. My mum was 95 years old. She had a good innings. She was able to see 5 generations of women come from her. She held her great granddaughter, Nellie, and Nellie represented 5 generations. And for us, it was a massive loss. I mean, like there's a hole there that just cannot, and then at the same time, it was a year of gain, because in the same month that my mother passed, another daughter was born, a great granddaughter was born into the family. It was a year of learning for me. I'm telling you, so much learning. Watching my diary, watching my calendar go, I had to now rethink about my whole online space and think about how I shift that and shift my space into there and shift my work into there. And it was a great learning curve for me. Some of the experiences that have shaped, what are some of the things that have shaped who you are now sitting in 2021? Well, 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, actually, 4 months into the year. We're nearly at the halfway stage, nearly 6 months in. What are some of the experiences that have shaped you? And then what are some of the things that have just moved and motivated you? Just like, what has moved and motivated you? Just like, last year was a massive year of racial awakening the whole year round, the whole world around. The murders of George Floyd just awakened a whole international, global awareness of the struggle of Blackness. But it also awakened a deep level of pride in the strength of Blackness and the beauty of Blackness and the strength of being a man and the strength of being a woman and the importance of excellence and the importance, of getting up again, the importance of doubling down on who you are. So what are some of the things that have moved and motivated you? So those 3 boxes, some of the things that have defined you, some of the experiences that have shaped you, some of the things that have moved and motivated you. I'm here with my 3 partners, 3 partners in inspiration. I don't want to say my 3 partners in crime. I'm here with my 3 partners in inspiration. Guys, what have you put down in any of those boxes there, as we're finding in me right now? And there's more to do in it, but what are some of the things that you've got in your first 3 boxes? Is there anything that you want to share from yours?
I'll let the Kane and Khalil go first, and I'll jump in when they're done.
So in the experiences that have shaped me, I think the whole lockdown period really grew and just aged in that whole. It just felt long. So I think just the whole lockdown period really just helped in my development in growing into a young man.
Yeah. Do you think it made you more disciplined?
Yeah, definitely. I had to wake up, have a plan for what's happening in the day since I was at school and stuff. So I guess that helped.
Yeah. Definitely. What year are you in now?
In year 11.
11. Believe me, year 12 comes quick enough, doesn't it? Yeah, year 12 comes quick enough. My daughter is in year 12. You know, my daughter's in year 12 right now. Khalil, did you have anything in any of yours?
For the things that motivate me, I put the thought of success, something that I want to work towards, something that's keeping me focused.
Yeah.
A milestone that I can achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. And Jonathan, what have you got?
Yeah, for the things that move and motivate me, I actually put down I guess BLM as a flashpoint. But for me, what it really means is like our work isn't done. More personally, my work isn't done.
Yeah.
That I have to, there's a hashtag that I've borrowed from somewhere, and it says "Occupy all streets."
Yeah.
Like I want us to occupy the different spaces, not for optics, so there's more people who look like us, but because to create our own, we have to first find our voices in all these different spaces. And that's how we bring influence and power to the table. And then we can take it back to our communities and build and grow and build our own versions or newer inventions and all of those things there. But first we have to, just occupy spaces. Like that's like massive for me.
I love that. I love that. So how do we find the me right now? Well, this is how we find the me right now. We find them based on the 3 top circles. So what I want you to do, if you've written down some of them, I want you to write a 4th circle now. Or if you've got the handout in the me right now, I want you to look at some of the things that you've written down about the things that define you, the experiences that shape you, and the things that move and motivate you. I want you to take 1 or 2 from each and stick in the me right now. So from the things that defined, if you've written down 3 or 4, or 2 or 3, take 1 or 2 out and stick it in the me right now box. Experiences in the me right now box 1 or 2. Things that move and motivate in the me right now box. And I want you to create a picture out of all 3 of them of the me right now. The things that define, experiences that shape, things that move and motivate. Because like I said, the me right now, the things that define are always past and present, and past and present and future. The experiences that are shaped are always past, present, and future. The things that move and motivate are always past, present, and future. So I want you to take out of the top 3 and stick in the me right now, and I want you to create a picture of the me right now and let me know what it is that you see or who it is that's looking back at you when you look at the me right now.
Yeah, people, please put those comments, like Eddie's saying, put those comments in the YouTube and Facebook stream comments, and you'll see them coming up across the screen. It'd be good to get and to see, what people are putting down and different perspectives and different versions of selves out there.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Please do. Please do. Please do. What about you guys? Have you completed it? Have you formed a picture of the me right now from some of them?
Yeah, for me, 2 of the big ones, family. Yeah, because I think previous to lockdown, I was very much like, I'm grown. If you miss my call, you miss my call. I'll call you when I've got time. But I've never talked to my family so much in lockdown. Like we have scheduled Zoom calls, WhatsApp calls, and all that kind of stuff. I think it's really nice to build back relationship without even trying, if that makes sense, right? So I think family is a massive one.
We've done the same in my family. Actually, so much that me and my nephews have formed a club room in Clubhouse. We formed a clubhouse called Hypolite Men Discuss. Every Wednesday evening we're in there. How about you, Khalil and Kane? Have you formed a me right now picture?
For the me right now, as I said, working to achieve my goals.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, this is the thing about the me right now. If you finished it, if you're following with us and you've finished it, this is the thing. If you don't like the me right now that you're looking at, because there's always three type of people. There are some who are like, yes, some like what? And others who are like, if you like the person that you're looking at, that's cool, because that person can always grow and that person can always improve. If you're with the me right now picture that you see there, that's cool, because that person can always grow and that person can always improve. If you're looking at the me right now and you just don't like what you see, you're like, no, allow me, please. Who is this? That's cool, because that person can always grow and that person can always improve. The important thing is that you understand and see who the me right now is. Now, this is the second thing that I want you to do with this exercise. I want you all, and guys, do this as well. I want you to write down 4 core values. And what are values? Values are the principles. Values are the things that say who you are, whether you're in front of people, whether you're in public or you're in private. Values. One of my values is the importance of community. Another of my values is the importance of family. Another one of my values is the importance of friendship and the loyalty that comes with friendship. Those are important values to me. Another one of my values is intentionality. I don't like people who are around me who don't know who they are, what they want to do, or where they want to go. Yeah. I like people who are intentional about who they are, what it is that they want in life, how it is that they chase those things in life. Now, I'm not talking about people who just who may feel stuck in life. I'm not talking about I don't like people around me who are stuck in life. I'm talking about I don't like people around me who live their life like they have no plan whatsoever. They just, allow that, just do whatever because tomorrow you may die. And I've seen people who have said that, and then 20 years later, they're still here chatting like, allow that, tomorrow you may die. No. So the core values. So I want you to write down core values that you live by, or that you're aspiring to live by, you're trying to live by. I want you to write down 4 core values. Write that down in the core value box, and all of that will make up the me right now. Then I want to teach you something really important about pressure and upheaval and what 2020 did to everyone. Core values. Jonathan, give me one of your core values.
Integrity.
Integrity. I like that. Khalil, what's one of your core values?
One of mine is resilience. But also Andy and Andrew in the chat, he put his values. Should I read them up?
Yeah, please.
He put family, community, and emotional equilibrium.
Ooh, I love that. Emotional equilibrium. Andrew wants to be balanced in this bad boy. Emotionally. I like that. Emotional equilibrium. I like that. Thank you for that, Andrew. I like it. I enjoy that. Kane, one of your core values.
One of my core values is respect. I believe respect goes a long way, and it just shows you like you're a loyal friend or family member.
I do like that. This is the thing to understand about the me right now and what happened in 2020. In 2020, Rona hit the world like that, quickly. And it was a collective global trauma. What took place was that everybody's sense of who they are was lost, because we lost our freedom, we lost our proximity to family, we lost our access to the things that we would normally have. We couldn't go nowhere. We were locked down in our houses. Our ability to do something as simple as just go and exercise and shop was restricted. And as a result of that, we lost that kind of sense of who we were and where we found ourselves. The me right now was dislodged, and the me right now just became uncertain. The me right now was pretty much attacked by the instability of everything that was taking place around us. And for a lot of people, what they don't understand is when the me right now is attacked, when life turns itself up on its head, what we lose sight of are our core values, the core values of things like integrity, the core values of things like respect, the core values of things like resilience, the core values of things like community. Why? Because we become insular, we become self-protecting. So you saw that, for instance, last year when people were just, and up to now, no one explains why we was killing each other for toilet rolls. I still ain't figured that one out. No one figured that one out. You just knew that lives are being lost. Lives are being snatched in supermarkets over toilet rolls, you know. But when life hits us hard, when life hits you hard, it's going to hit you in the me right now, and it's going to pull you away from your core values, the core things that remind you of who you are, who you are. And that's what that's what it does. That's what it does. It was Mike Tyson who said everybody's got a plan, you know, talking about, you know, everybody, you know, in his heyday as a fighter. It's, you know, and people would talk about the plan. This is how you beat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. You know what I mean? And there's that meme of him just, I forgot the name of the boxer, but the guy steps in and Tyson hits him crack with a right hook, and he just crumbles like a sack of potatoes. So when life hits us crack, how do we reset? How do we reset and find our focus again? How do we reset and find ourselves again? How do we reset and find our resilience and our integrity, our sense of community? How do we find, as Andrew said here, our emotional equilibrium? How do we find those things? Well, we talk about resetting, and we reset by looking at the me right now. And that's the first place. So let's move over to those 3 circles. I've always said, if you want to reset when life throws you a curveball, if you want to reset the me right now, rethink about the me right now, reset your core values, then there's 3 essential things that you have to do. Number 1, you have to reassess the me right now. Reassess the me right now. Start with reassessing the me right now. How do we do that? There's one place that we all sit with a whole bunch of difficulty, and that place is in a place of honesty. We find it really hard to be honest about where we find ourselves. And I think we find it hard to do that because men find it hard to do this, especially because self-honesty comes with a high level of vulnerability. And we equate vulnerability with weakness, but vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability is strength. Why? Because vulnerability is your ability to say, I don't have full control of this situation. I know I don't have everything it takes to get out of this situation. And it takes a high degree of emotional strength and emotional centeredness to admit that as a person, to admit that as a man. I heard this brilliant counselor, psychologist called Michael Patterson. I was speaking at a conference in Australia, a chaplain's conference in 2019. And he spoke about vulnerability. And he said this, he said, vulnerability is not something to be shunned. It's a gift to be unwrapped. It's a gift to be unwrapped. The sooner we can understand as men that our vulnerability is actually our strength, because we're able to sit in that space of honesty, that space of humility, and reach out and say, all right, I need your support in this space. That's when we become strong. Because what we do then is we widen our capacity for connection. We widen and deepen our capacity for trust. We lengthen our ability to look to different people. So how do we reassess? Well, we reassess by having a sense of the understanding of the importance of self. Three things. Number 1, self-honesty. Number one, self-honesty. We reassess the me right now by having a sense of self-honesty. Number two, we reassess the me right now by having a sense of self-consciousness. And self-consciousness isn't like, well, how's man looking? That's not that kind of self-consciousness. Self-consciousness is about how am I actually doing and what's happening around me and what's taking place around me. How am I actually doing? How am I actually feeling about how I am? If I'm denying how I'm feeling, why am I denying how I'm feeling? Having that deep sense of deep sense of self-consciousness and that sense of self-denial. Now, self-denial is a hard one for men because we want everything, but sometimes wanting everything makes you lose the important things. For real. Wanting everything at the cost of anything makes you lose the important things. Wanting anything at the cost of wanting everything at the cost of anything makes you lose the important things. So those three places: self-honesty, self-assessment, self-honesty, self-consciousness, and self-denial. Those are the three places that we start. Where did my thing? Oh, there you are. What are you hiding for, man? Come out. No one can do it all and no one can have it all. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can't. And the other thing that you have to understand is you ain't going to be there forever. And this one is for the olders. This one is for me, those who are the olders like me. We ain't going to be there forever. Neither should we be planning to be there forever. Serious. You want to hold on to that one little spot forever? And while you're holding on to it, who are you preparing to sit in that space once you go? Because eventually you will go. It's a given. It's a given. You ain't going to be there forever. So what do you do with that space? And that is what assessing the me right now is about. Assessing the me right now is also about finding a new focus. Finding a new focus. Let me ask you guys, in 2020, when things really just turned on their head, how many of you kind of like lost focus of what you were really doing and what was taking place?
Yeah, for a bit still. But I was kind of happy because I think it was like maybe 6 weeks into the first lockdown, and I realized that there was no possible way I could do all the things that I had planned and I'd committed to, and I couldn't do anymore because if we didn't have lockdown, I'd have been stressed out, burning the candles at all ends, lack of sleep, lack of rest, lack of the things that I really want to do. So yeah, I was kind of happy because I remember saying to my wife, "Yo, wow, look at all these things that I can't do anymore. I don't even know how I would have been able to do it in the first place." So
how did you end up finding a new focus?
Oh man, I think that took some time. It took some going into myself first. Was the first step. Like, and I don't mean that in a good way, like I was reflective, but you just sort of go hiding and you try and figure out like what's going on around you. And then I guess the things that started bringing out of me, like the family calls every week, the things that I started looking forward to, made lockdown a bit brighter. And with my lockdown getting brighter, then I could start thinking, okay, you know what? Yeah, there's something, like, I can't stop. There's something to go for. Like, my plans have changed, but the things that I now have on my plate are like, wow, I never thought I'd be doing this. Sort of opportunities. So yeah, I think it's been good in that way.
Beautiful. Guys, did you find times last year where you kind of lost focus on what it was that you wanted to do or your ability to do some things and you had to come up with a strategy to get a new focus? Did that happen to either of you?
Yeah, that happened to me, especially with like my schoolwork.
Mm.
I lost focus of like what I was trying to achieve, so I had to go back and then work harder
Mm-hmm.
because of all the time that I wasted.
Mm. Yeah, that happened to so many, so many. How about you, Kane? Did you have any experiences like that last year where you kind of
Uh,
just lost track and you had to get a reset yourself
uh,
again?
yeah, definitely during a lockdown period where we had to do online school.
Mm.
I found it hard to motivate myself to get up and do some work at times. But after getting a push from like mum and other family members, it kind of helped out me finding my
Yeah,
new focus.
yeah, yeah. And what was it in your own mind? Because I mean, everybody can help as much as they want, but in the end, for like the two of you, you just had to, in the end, just like, all right, you had to come to that space within your own mind where you had to just settle and tell yourself something specific, so that you could motivate yourself and you could find that new focus. What was it for the both of you?
I think just knowing that if I don't do any work or don't get up and do stuff, that I'm not going to achieve my end goal.
Mm. Yeah,
You only get so far
yeah.
without like working towards it.
Hmm. Yeah. Same for you, Khalil.
Yeah, mine is the same as Kane. Like the fear of failure. That
Mm.
I didn't want to fail, so I had to get back and
Mm.
work harder.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So finding a new focus. How do we, when life punches us in the face, when it punches the me right now in the face and causes you to lose sight of your core values, reassess the me right now, find a new focus, and then create new energy. Create new energy. And there's three types of energy that I always encourage. Number one is emotional energy. And I think it has been mentioned here. Emotional energy. There ain't nothing worse than sitting with a group of people who don't know how to lift you when you're down. I've got friends who, when I'm down and I'm just like a pig wallowing in the mud of my whatever, they will stand up and watch me wallow. They'll come and seriously, they will stand next to me and watch me wallow and wallow and wallow. And then after a while, they're like, all right, enough, 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 enough. And just know how to pick me back up and restore my emotional energy. And the emotional energy is about reminding me about who I am. That restores my resilience, as in the case of Cain. You know what I mean? Khalil. They give me that keen sense of where I'm from, which restores my integrity. They remind me of the people that are with me, that reminds me of my family. Emotional energy is important when life hits you hard. Being around people who know not to so much gas you up, although sometimes everybody needs a little gassing up. You know what I mean? But you can't have your whole life just being gassed up when no one speaks the truth to you. But that emotional energy that reminds you that this isn't always going to be this way, that reminds you of who you actually are and brings you back to center. The other one is mental, renewing mental energy. And mental energy is about being around important self-talk. Self-talk. Not the type of self-talk that is just impossible, but the type of self-talk like both Khalil and Kane mentioned fear. Fear is a good motivator. Believe me. I grew up in that generation. The fear for me was my mother just tearing my ass out. You know what I mean? That was the fear for me. You know what I mean? Fear is a good motivator. It cannot be the only motivator. But what fear does, it's a jolt, and it kind of makes you reassess where you are and create within you important ways of thinking. It's important to have people around you that know how to speak in healthy ways to you. Healthy ways, mentally healthy ways. My best friend always reminds me. He said, Eddie, there's two stories that you can tell. You could tell the story about the teething little black boy out of Fulham, West London, that was written off educationally at 14 and kicked out of school. You can tell the story about the boy that ended up all the way through youth custody and eventually ended up in prison and just became the statistical write-off that everybody said he was going to be. You said you can tell that story because you've lived that story. Or you could tell the story about the teething little black boy from West London, you know what I mean, who was written off educationally, but who went back into education at 25. Who understood that when life gives you, writes you off, that you can find a bigger pen, that the Almighty gives you a bigger pen. He will put people around you with bigger pens. And you can tell the story of that boy who went back to community college at 25 to do his secondary school exams, and then went on to do his first degree and went on to do 2 master's degrees, and then went on to write 3 books. You could tell that story. And he always ends by saying, you can tell 2 stories, Eddie. Just choose to tell the story that counts. Choose to tell the story that counts. And so you need people around you that will speak into that mental space for you. That will speak into that mental space and add emotional, mental, and social. Believe me, the company that you keep, the people that you run with, it was the late great Maya Angelou who said, when people show you who they are, believe them. And in your social groups, if people are showing you that they ain't willing to shine as bright as you are, that they ain't willing to go as far as you want to go, that they ain't willing, not that they ain't able, but they ain't willing to do that, then you got to let them go. You got to let them go and find that emotional, that mental, and that social, and that spiritual energy around you that will put you back together and help the me right now and the core values to reconnect once again. Reconnect once again. So guys, is there anything that jumps out with you three in this whole space of reassessing, finding new focus, creating new energy? I know that I've spoken a bit too much. I feel like I've run away.
Creating new energy. For me, I'm finding the reading again. Growing up, my sister and I, we used to compete reading books, and the goal was to read a book a week. And then I went through education. I came out of that, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that again." But now, like in lockdown, I started picking books up again, and it's just sort of refreshed my perspective on different things. Whether it's a book about learning how to do like career-related stuff, or whether it's just a fiction book, that's just a good book to just get lost in and allow your brain to relax and dream and create pictures of new worlds and stuff like that. Like I've really enjoyed that. Oh, Donna's got a question. Oh, that's a big question. How can we create new energy to get 100 Black Men of London to the next level? Oh boy.
How can you create new energy? Well, if you're saying create new energy, if you're using the term new energy, then you're saying that there's stuff that is sapping the energy, or that the energy has been pulled out. So why don't you sit in that place of honest reassessment? Why don't you sit in this place of doing this as a group and saying, all right, what are the things that have defined us as 100 men? What are the things and experiences that have shaped us? What are the things that have moved and motivated us? And out of those, who is it? What is the me right now as far as we are as 100 Black men? And what are our core values? You can actually sit down as an organization and do this same thing. And out of there, you'll be able to be honest to find out what it is that has sapped your energy, and then what you do is you constantly continue to do things like what we're doing here. And you put your men up here who will encourage, and you hold your events, and you bring young Black men around black men that are aspiring and black men that are achieving, and you make them see themselves. You allow them to see themselves. You allow those black men to tell their backstories. Some of them may have come from a backstory like me. Some of them may have come from a backstory unlike me. They've just come from very stable backgrounds and they did well in school all the way through. And that's going to be describing a lot of the young black men that you deal with. Not everybody has that story, you know, get a fabulous, get a tragic. Not everybody has that story, you know, but you bring a coalition of black men around with different stories that everybody else can see themselves in. And you allow those young men to do life and to journey life and to be in that space with those older men, and you allow those older men to link into the energy and the imagination. You allow me to be around Kane. You allow me to be around Khalil, and be around them in the ways that I can not just be here in Zoom. Here in StreamYard, but I can actually be around their lives, and then I can hear how they think, and I can see the things that they imagine, and I can see the things that they dream, and then I can feed from them the way they feed from me, because I need to feed from them.
By the way,
that's how you create the energy.
I'm young. I'm young too, by the way.
And Jonathan as well, yeah, because like Jonathan's just like Jonathan's only like just turned 20. Yeah, he's only just
yeah. What Eddie said, yeah.
It's been a long school year. Been a long, you know. And I think Donna, that's how one of the ways in which you can do it. It's life that attracts life, and it's the energy that comes out of life that does that. So this is a question I want to ask, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to write down here, what are the steps that you need to take in order to reset? Just thinking about some of the things that we've talked about here. What are the steps that you need to take in order to reset? You know, I like the way that Khalil and Kane have talked about some of theirs. Like, people spoke to them, they realized where they were, they're assessed where they were. They just realized, nah, if I fall any further behind, so they understood that there were steps to do that. But I want you to think about steps, and I want you to think about sacrifices, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you want to achieve the things that are important to you, there are some things that you're going to have to give up in order to do that. So what are the steps and what are the sacrifices? I want you to write some of them down. And then I want you to write down who your accountability person is going to be. Now, if you're in 100 Black Men, most of you probably have mentors. But if you're not in 100 Black Men and you're listening to this, maybe you don't have mentors. I want you to think about who your mentors are. I want you to think about who your mentors are and who your mentors should be. I want you to think about who you need to go and ask to mentor you. And I say that intentionally. When people want me to be their mentors, they have to ask me, not because I think that I'm enough, no. But in the mentoring relationship, there's a certain level of intimacy and honesty and transparency that you have that can only be had when you give that person permission. And when somebody asks me to mentor them, they are giving me permission to speak into their life, even the difficult things, because mentoring is about accountability as well. So I want you to write down what are the steps and sacrifices for to reset. Guys, have you got anything like for any of these in the reset of reassessing, creating new focus? You know, what are some sacrifices that you might need to make, you know, heading the way through 21? We're in 21 now. What are some steps and what some sacrifices that you might need to make? Let me start with you, Jonathan, and we'll work our way up the ladder to Kane.
Less gaming time. Yeah,
he said with the big old headphones.
Yeah, less gaming time. Less gaming time. I'm trying to do some coding courses, so something has to give. I can't spend 2 hours playing PlayStation, you know.
Yeah.
as nice as it is, those 2 hours could be better spent doing the things I'm trying to do.
Yeah. All right then. And have you thought of your accountability person?
Yeah, man, lives with me, my wife. You know, she's got her eyeballs on the screen, so she can see, you know, am I actually realistically spending the time where I said I'm gonna spend it? So yeah.
Yeah. All right then. All right then. And what about you guys?
I was gonna say something along the lines of what Jonathan said about sacrificing my time.
Yeah.
But what's it called? Also, like having more tenacity, just like working and motivated not to quit, because that's how you achieve stuff. If you just not let anything stop you in your path.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Kane, what have you come up with?
I think just making time to do stuff that's gonna help you achieve that end goal is very important, and that's something you have to sacrifice. The things that you like, you have to sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Well, 5 for 21. 5 tips for 21. 5 tips for 21. Let me ask you guys, seeing as you're here, if you was to give anybody one tip for 21, what would that tip be? Heading into, you know, just making their way through 2021. If you was to give just one tip, what would that tip be?
My tip would be don't write off. It's a lesson to be learned.
Say that again. Sorry, you cut out a bit.
Don't write it off.
Hey,
lesson to be learned.
Yeah, I like that. Don't write it off. Don't write it off. It's a lesson to be learned. I do like that. I really do like that. What about you, Kane?
Just have patience, really. If you wait long enough, it'll eventually happen, I guess. If you're really working at it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Did you look at my thing before? Did somebody send you my thing? Because I just wrote that down, man. I have to find a new one, man. No. We're thinking.
Great minds think alike.
I like that. And Jonathan, if you was to ask one tip, what would it be?
I think it'd be remember your why. Because like I have many reasons or many things that I'm doing, but I have a why. There's a consistent why. My why is my family, you know. And even if it's like trying to stay healthy and get fit, that's for my family. It's for me, but intrinsically helps that situation, you know. If I'm trying to, you know, do stuff at work, change my career opportunities, create new pathways for myself in life, business, and all that stuff, everything I'm doing sort of filters back to family. So for me, it's just remember the why, because you know sometimes we get lost. You get lost in the sauce, as we say. You get carried away in the project that you're working on, and you know, like if my project is to build a business, okay, cool. I'm building this business, but if it's having a negative effect on my why, then I've lost sight of why I'm doing it, and maybe I need to rethink that and rejig that again. So yeah, for me, it's just always remember why you're doing what you're doing, because that's always the question. Like, is what I'm doing worth it? Basically.
I saw something the other day, and it really spoke to me. Just on your why. And it said your why is always going to be stronger than your excuses. You know what I mean? So hearing you say that, Jonathan, just really affirmed that what I heard. Just hearing you come back to the why. Yeah. Your why is always going to be stronger than your excuses. You know? So yeah, thank you for reminding me of that one. So what are my 5? What are my 5 for 21? Well, number 1, know the difference between what you know and what you don't, and what you think you know, not what you don't know. Understand the difference between what you know and what you think you know. Understand the difference between, because in the middle, that's the gap that you have to figure out. Yeah. So number 1, Figure out the gap between what you know and what you think you know. And what is the difference? Sometimes some of you may come up with something and you'll hear something and you're like, oh, yeah, I understand that. No, you don't. You may understand it. Yeah, I know that. No, you don't know it. What your mind has done is heard it, and your mind has assessed it, and your mind has figured out, I can understand that, but you don't know it yet. That's going to be one of the things that you're going to struggle with, that you're going to face in school. You know, my daughter has figured that out because she's got a mind like my mind that absorbs information very quick, works it out. And then I would just assess, oh, yeah, I know it, and not bother, you know. But no, my mind has told me, you can do this. But thinking that I can do this is making me think that I know it, until I come to do assessments and I come to do exams and I realize I don't know nothing. Well, I don't know enough. Yeah. So figure out the gap between what you know and what you think you know. And in that space, work it out. Let me say this to you. Number 2, never fear not knowing. Especially you men. Guys, don't fear not knowing. Not knowing is not a sign of weakness. Not knowing is a sign that you don't know. And it's as simple as that. But once you figure out that you don't know, not knowing is a gift of knowing. You now have a gift that has been given to you. Not knowing don't mean that you're dumb. Not having the answer don't mean that you're dumb. It just means that you don't have the answer. But you can literally just pick up your phone, get on Google, and you can find out the answer literally in 5 minutes. So if you don't know, just say, no, I don't know that, you know. Hold on, stay there. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, now I know. Never fear not knowing. Fear knowing that you don't know and fronting like you do know. Fear that, but never fear not knowing. Never fear not knowing. So number 1, figure out the gap between what you know and what you think you know. And number 2, never fear not knowing. Yeah, I'm going to go to number 3 because Kane already stole it, but I'm going to say my version. I'm going to say my version. Be patient. Be patient and intentional about the things that you're working on. Be patient with it. Be patient and intentional. Be patiently intentional about the things that you're working on. Whether it be school, whether it be relationships, especially when it is yourself, the communities around you. Be patient be patient and be intentional about it. Number 4, you have to be willing to be what it is that you're looking for in others. Stop saying that, nobody around you has excellence and you don't display the same excellence. Stop saying that no one around you has vision, but when they ask you for an idea, you can't come up with it. Stop saying people around you is so low energy, but when you're asked to be in that space, there is no energy. You have to be willing to be what you're looking for. You have to be willing to be what you're looking for. And last one, in 2021, remember that your story is important. Your story is important. Wherever your story comes from, wherever your story starts from, wherever your story is important because your story is your life. And when we talk about your story, that's what we're talking about. There is a story in each one of us written on the pages of our lives in the ink of experience. And each new day, you're adding to that story. You've heard from Jonathan, you've heard from Khalil, you've heard from Kane. And everything that they've shared about what some of their values are, about resetting new energy, about their experiences. What they have done is actually shared snippets of their stories. They haven't gone into the full story, but they've shared snippets of their stories. And in sharing their stories, what they have shared with you is their life. And their life is important. And your life is important. Your stories are important. So that's the 5. That's the 5 for 21. That is the 5 for 21. And I'm done.
Amazing. Thank you.
I'm
Eddie.
done. Did I go over time?
No, you're good, man.
Didn't
You're
I?
good. No, you're good.
I'm
You're
within
good. You're
time.
good. You're within
All right.
time, Eddie. You're within time. You're all good. But yeah. So, have we got? Thought I'd open the floor for some questions. Anything that people want to say, thoughts, ideas. How are we looking in the comments? I know we've got an audience because I can see some chat going on.
Thank you for Andrew for your comments. Thank you, Sharon, for jumping in.
Yes. So yeah. So we've done this exercise, and Eddie, I just wanted to ask you, how often do you do something like this?
I do this. I do this for a living.
How often would you like? If I wanted to, how often should I revisit this or?
Listen, the me right now. I always say to people, do it every 6 months.
Okay.
Serious. Do it every 6 months. You will see. Do that exercise of the me right now. You will see that the me right now would have shifted in 6 months' time. It would have shifted in 6 months' time. Why? Because the me right now is always growing. The me right now is always in the process of growth. The me right now is never stagnant. The me right now is always in that space of the things that define and the experiences that shape and the things that move and motivate, dreams for the future, issues from the past, challenges in the present. That's always the me right now that is navigating all three of them, And so do it in 6 months. You will see that the me right, and that is good because it doesn't mean that you're not a stable person. It just means that you're a growing person, and you're a growing person that is really just aware of who they are and where they find themselves on their journey. And it's important to be that type of person. It's important to have that type of that kind of experience. Well, in 2 weeks' time, listen, I'm comfortable with my age. In 2 weeks' time, 27th of April, I turn 56 years old.
Oh wow!
Well
done. Congratulations.
2 days before that, on the 25th of April, I celebrate 28 years of marriage. 28 years.
Come on.
Yeah. So, yeah. And that's my biggest achievement. That's my biggest achievement. Biggest achievement. Yeah. To I remember when I came to get married, Jonathan, Kane, Khalil. When I came to get married, I panicked. And the reason why I panicked is my dad left when I was 5 years old, never came back into the home again. And my mom never brought another man into the house. So I have never seen my mother with another man. If I've seen a mother holding a man's hand, it's one of her sons or one of her grandsons. If I've seen a man bring my mother flowers, if I've seen my mother sitting in a room with a man around her, with his arm around her laughing, it's one of her sons or one of her grandsons. When I came to get married, literally about a month before I got married, I just went into this series of quiet panic attacks. No one knew about it. My fiance never knew about it. I never discussed it with my brothers. No one. I was going through these private panic attacks because I was sure I was going to fail. Why? Because I realized I didn't know what it was to be a father. I didn't know what it was to be a father. I didn't know what it was to be a husband, a provider, because I'd never seen any of that. My mom was mom and dad. Love you like a mother, beat you like a father. You know what I mean? My mom was that woman. And I remember just going through this private, and then I remember literally hearing God speak to me. And this is what he asked me, seriously. It was a deep moment. He said, Eddie, I know you never saw it in your life, but what did you deserve to see? What did you deserve to see as a boy, as a man growing up that you didn't see from your father? And I had this list of things that I felt that I deserved to see. And I never forget him just saying, all right, well then marry the girl and I'll teach you to do that. Marry the girl, stay in there, be committed to the commitment. and stay in there, and I'll teach you to do that. I'll send people around you to model it. I will even send dysfunctional people around you to show you what not to be. And yeah, so here we are. Here we are. Here we are 28 years later. Here we are 28 years later.
Congrats, man. It's an achievement. I'm early in the journey, but you know, yeah, it'd be good to
keep on going,
get
man.
there and beyond, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've sort of focused on who we are inside and all of that stuff. But today we're not just going to stop there. Of course not. We're going to do some of the outside bits as well, because I'm not going to lie, because during lockdown, man, I was packing some pounds. I was putting them on. So now that we're coming out of lockdown, I'm trying to get back on the fitness and all that kind of stuff. So today we're having also a health and wellness day at Regent's Park. I don't know if people are aware about it, but please, we'll be down there from around 2:30 in the afternoon. We're going to be doing all kinds of sessions in there. So we've got people cycling. I'll be leading the cycling group. We've got people running. We've got people walking. And if you're not able to get to Regent's Park in that time, or for whatever reason, please don't miss out on the other sessions we've got coming up. We've got soca aerobics, yoga, meditation. You can do both. You can go to the park and then get home and then do the online stuff as well. But no, seriously, let's just keep hanging out, keep working out together. It'd be lovely, because, you know, in lockdown, I've not seen most of you. I haven't even met Kane in person. It'd be lovely to see some of you at the park today. You don't need to own your own bicycle. So we're meeting outside the entrance to London Zoo, which also happens to be a Santander. I used to call them Barclays bikes, but you know, the bikes around London, you guys know the ones I'm talking, the red ones. They're right there, they're parked up right there, so you can quickly, you know, pay for one of those bikes and come on a ride around the park with us. It's nothing strenuous. It's just going to be a leisurely cycle round. I need it anyway, so I'm not about to start taking you on a hard ride, because I can't even keep up. Never mind leading people on a hard ride. So yeah, let's just sort of. It'd be good to see all of you down there celebrating 100.
Jonathan, somebody's asking, do you need to have your own bicycle?
No, you don't. You don't need your own bicycle. Andy, just come down. I'm hoping to see Andy there, because I've been fixing to get Andy on a bike for, geez, I think it's what, 3-4 years, almost 4 years now. Andy, come on, you've got to show. Even if you don't come with a bike or do the bike thing, maybe you do the walking thing, right? Or the running thing. I've been fixing to get Andy doing some health and fitness stuff with us. Come on, Andy. Come on. Maybe this will be the day that I get that done. But no, back to you guys.
Come on, Andy. Have it. Have it, son. Get it, son.
Yeah, go on. Khalil, any last words from you?
I'd like to thank Eddie for sharing his journey with us, and showing us how we could change our focus and become like the better version of ourselves. Also, I'm pretty sure Eddie has his book that he wanted to talk about. We could get it from.
Yeah, you can get it. You can get it at. You know, they say that you shouldn't. You know, they say when you're on things like Zoom and StreamYard that you shouldn't get up and walk away from the camera because it's very unprofessional. But like you've been in my house for like the past how long? So it's my book. It's called Living From Here. It's called Living From Here. Thank you for the push, Khalil. I appreciate that. It's called Living From Here. You can get it at my website. Go to EYR Limited, EYRLTD.com. On Instagram, just go into my bio. You'll find it in my socials. You can find it on my Facebook page. There's a Living From Here Facebook page that's attached to my Facebook page. And you can get it from me. Yeah.
Dope. I'm actually happy Khalil mentioned that because I almost forgot myself. And it's like, well, I've actually got some signed. Well, I say we've got some signed copies of those.
You
Of that
have.
book.
You
We
have.
Adlin wants to know: is there a discount for people from the 100?
There is a discount
Hey,
today. There is a
okay,
discount today for those from the 100 who want to buy it. Just go to the page and you can get it today. Get it today.
okay.
It's only gonna last 2 days, the 18th. Yeah, so get it today.
So you heard it here first, guys. You've got a couple of hours till the day's out. Please, please, please get a copy of the book. You won't regret it. Kane, have you got any final words, comments for us?
Just thank you for having me on today.
No worries, sir. No worries. Pleasure. I'd say Eddie, have you got some final words? But I know
No, I
you
think
do.
I've spoken out. Just thank you. Thank you to Kane. Thank you to Khalil for jumping in with us and for sharing from your own journeys and your experience, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure being in this space with you. Continue to do what you're doing, and it's been a pleasure being here to represent 100 Black men and to be a part of what you're doing. The honor's mine, and I really do thank you. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Well, people, from the 100 Black Men of London, thank you for joining us on your Sunday morning. But it doesn't stop there. I'm gonna keep saying it. I'll see you at the park at 2:30. Really, really looking forward to meeting you guys. Really looking forward to the rest of our celebrations. The 100 is 20. We've been doing this for 20 years, and long may it continue.
Long may.
Peace out, people. Have a good one.